It's entitled Developing General Artificial Intelligence, Blockchain, and AR/MR for Emergency Medical Triage, Disaster Relief, and Remote Medical Rescue for Analog Astronauts. I think the presentation sounds like it has it all. I'm looking forward to it. John, please.
Well, hey everyone, I'm John. I'm going to read the title again because it'll take 5 minutes. We are going to go over a view of background research that's been going on in analog astronautics, and then where we're going to go in the future. So first, just disclosure statement here. Read all that. So the vision of the AvatarMEDIC system is that we're going to be doing various kinds of exploration on planet surface. We're going to be doing various analog astronaut missions to help inform those. And these are going to create real dangers for the human operators, human explorers. However, we will have, and already do have, a lot of cross-sectional technologies that let us locate people in the field who have gone missing, coordinate operation activities, and generally, we're pretty good now at perceiving the surface of planets and seeing things. But what's not as well defined is how to do search and rescue and evacuations, and particularly stabilization and triage in remote and austere environments. So with the work of the Mars Academy USA, which is a private company doing analog astronaut work, we have been testing various components of how to do, in one case you see in the upper left, there's a drone, right? So searching out and trying to find an astronaut and developing the protocols for using these technologies, egressing the astronaut, getting them out of the situation, and then even back at the habitat, how would you guide a astronaut team who's in a remote setting to be able to do a medical procedure that perhaps no one locally has the knowledge to do, but you need to do the procedure. So more fun pictures here. This is actually up at 10,000 feet in Nepal, doing a proper analog astronaut mission, and these are fascinating simulations because they're both simulations, but also they have real medical requirements. So these teams are actually out in an austere environment. So the mantra is always safety first, simulation second. So there are real medical crews that are remote that help these teams both do simulations and then also literally support these explorers, these analog astronauts. So just quickly, when we're doing all this work, we are really interested in TRL, but also HRL, right? Because we're trying to build not just a technology system, but it's a protocol stack for the human and various technology interactions. Right now, the AvatarMEDIC system, which I'll get into more, is more on the TRL of a 2, right? It's more, we've done a lot of basic principles, actually, by going especially down the HRL side with the protocols for medical intervention in these austere environments. Because we've done a few missions now beyond just 10,000 feet. Just recently, the crew came back from 15,000 feet. And this is where it starts to get, more dangerous, right? Your body is actually going through pressures and challenges, or lack of pressure, I should say, that is a really great analog for the kind of conditions that you would face, even in something like ISS. So again, we have to support these crews for real, but also then run simulation to try and bring value and continue to do study. We're next in February, the crews are going to go to Everest and do 17,000 feet. That last pyramid is a cool research base there. We're going to start off, acclimate, and then head up to 17,000 feet. So with the remote mission support that we do, it's two-sided, right? It's a simulation, so this is part of trying to validate the concept of being able to guide a remote team through, in this case, tele-anesthesia for telesurgery. So this is existing work under the DMID project, where this is happening out in the middle of these austere environments, where a remote medical team is instructing the on-site team, who in often cases consists of people who are maybe a little bit medically trained or entirely medically untrained, and they are being walked through how to do things like intubation, they're being walked through how to do things like anesthesia. But beyond just walking people through the existing protocols, we're developing new protocols with new technology, and this is where we get into the fun of AvatarMEDIC. And as a sort of taster, up there in the upper left, This is a device that was developed by a Japanese researcher called the VapoJet. And this is a 3D printed anesthesia device. So not only is it 3D printed, and that's cool, right? It's easier to bring to space because you all know about space, I don't need to explain. But it also enables microgravity surgery, microgravity anesthesia, which is currently not possible. Anesthesia is a drip procedure on Earth today, but this device is not only smaller, lighter, but it's also a new paradigm of vaporizing the anesthesia, and then you inhale the vaporized anesthesia. So we're testing these kinds of technologies on the technology side, but also on the HRL side of how do you develop a protocol for this that would actually be able to get someone to potentially do surgery out in both microgravity, but also in an austere environment. So now we have all this fun technology, right? So I get out of the back out of the way, right? And we get to see, wow, there's all these technologies that we can call exponential technologies that are all possible. AI, blockchain, 5G, CubeSats, right? We have spatial computing. This is a big one. Spatial computing serves as the interface for all these kinds of things. And we have robotics and UAVs, which is some great robotics already that you've seen so far. But we're trying to bring it all together into one integrated, coherent system that will just turnkey, put the glasses on, and it will explain to you how to save a life, no matter where you are. And it will physically save the life in some cases. We've done some background work testing out various components of the testing assumptions, right? On the left there, we've got, we do these at hackathons a lot too, because it also puts pressure on. You've got to throw your idea away quickly. On the left, we've got Avatar Rescue, which was a chatbot application on a mobile phone that had a Magic Leap component that shot through the lens on the Magic Leap. So it's a relatively simple thing, and yet it delivers a lot of value. It's walking you through basic triage procedure. You talk to, the system will ask you questions about the state of your patient, you talk to about the state, and it will guide you down the path of existing algorithms, right? We're not reinventing all the algorithms, but it's about getting them in the hands of people, especially in a dangerous situation. You don't really have time to explain certain things, so you can see that's how to do CPR, and you're getting the valuable ad of, like in the movies, everybody does CPR with their elbows big because they can't crush their co-star's chest, right? Because the insurance wouldn't cover that. But in real life, you've got to go straight arm, and you're going to break ribs. So with the spatial computer, we can show how to do medical procedure, and even in this initial test, it was really compelling to be able to see this instead of explaining it. And then we have the other side of it too, like we mentioned earlier, is that, how do you find someone out, the needle in the haystack, out in the middle of nowhere? This middle concept is higher ground. This is using spatial computer, HoloLens, to show a map and then situate where you are and where, in this case, a floodplain was coming, right? But we can imagine this for almost any disaster. It's more about giving you that God's eye view, but right where you are, so you have that situational awareness. And this is what's the opportunity. And we took that further with this SAR 5G, which we did on an actual 5G network, which was pretty interesting, to see the benefits of having real 5G, where we could stream video from the phones with absolutely no penalty, no latency or anything like that. It really is a uniquely better networking experience. And in this case, we had two main modes. We have the God's Eye View mode, right, the sort of mission control incident command, and then scouts can walk around and place markers all over where they are, and they would be tracked and everything can be seen. It's a multiplayer experience. This means that incident command is vastly simplified. Instead of screaming over radios and trying to figure out what's going on, you can just see a map of everything that's happening, so that when you get to your field assets, everyone's aware, and if you bring more resource in, everyone comes up to speed instantly. So we've tested, again, some of the principles, some of the ideas of being able to instruct someone remotely how to do a procedure. This is more of a colorful graphic, right? It's not completely accurate to what we're developing, but I hope that you can start to get the sense of, wow, a remote medical expert could be able to not just give information like video or voice, but really actually feel the situational awareness of the environment through these technologies, so that they're able to act as kind of your guardian angel. That's why we have our space suit angel logo, is that we're trying to deliver quite a lot more value, bringing many more perspectives to bear on any given medical emergency, and we're hoping that's going to improve outcomes significantly. So it's early days for this project because it's early days for a lot of these technologies. So, for example, the headsets, we still need to go beat them up at high elevation and see how they work. They're designed for down here, but will they survive what we want them to? to do. But the goal is to get a multi-user experience that's coherent and integrated and will let us plug in different modules of kinds of medical care. So, and also inside, when I mentioned AI, the best way to get a system to learn is to have the system do things. And the best people who already know how to do things are medical professionals. So by building a multiplayer experience, we also have the software able to observe what happens inside of it and see, what does a professional first responder's eye gaze do? What does a professional surgeon, how do they act, how do they behave? We're not just talking about stuff like papers, right? We're not talking about just the concepts of medicine. We're talking about that hard-won physicality of doing medicine that we will be able to digitize and put into the system so that we can achieve a system which is able to support autonomous medical ability for astronaut missions. So we started off on a timeline, right, from the 2020 period. It's a lot more focused on training and validating concepts, validating technologies. So right away we're going to take, for our own needs, right, for our analog astronaut missions, and also for explorers who do, and extreme athletes who do this kind of mountaineering and remote, austere settings. We're creating a training solution where you just put the headset on and it has inside of there everything you would need to do a first response training. So no more moldy dummies, no more of all this gadgets and gizmos that you have to bring out. You just pop the headset on and you'll be able to get actually a much more visceral training experience. For example, my background, my first job, I was a lifeguard, and I recall even back then, they're yelling at you like, the victim is bleeding. But it's very confusing, right? There's your instructors right over your shoulder, so it's not really giving you an accurate mode. So we have a lot of low-hanging fruit, just making a better training. And then from there, we'll be able to take this into more real-time mode. And from there, once we have a real-time spatial computing interface with some of these AI components, and we're able to start integrating, then we get to harvest the fruits of, we're running in the ANA Avatar X Prize, which is a prize to make a fully articulatable and embodiable avatar. And then we can plug that in on the back end around 2024 is the hope. So it's not just that robot, it's all robots. But the idea of the AvatarMEDIC vision is that any medical intervention, anywhere, anytime. So we're providing real-time remote relief. So if that means a person's going to render aid from instruction, or a robot's going to render aid through instruction, or a robot's going to assist a person who's rendering aid, we don't care about the permutations, right? It's about saving the life. So we've got a great team, and I'm going to click through this really fast so you can see that these are all people who have a deep background in this. My joke is we're doctors looking for technology rather than technology for doctors. So I think with that, I can thank all of our collaborators and partners, and thank you all for your attention, and invite you please to connect with us. We really, really, really want to connect with all of you and integrate and be able to provide value. If you're building a robotic platform, it could also do medicine, right? So let's connect. Thank you.
A fascinating presentation, I think. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. That's right. There could be questions.
I was just making a comment that I think it's quite interesting the number of technologies that are being integrated here, and I think as time moves forward will be increasingly relevant and used. So do we have any questions for John on the system?
And please feel free to find me later. I'm going to wear this jumpsuit all day. The logo.
Great. Well, thank you very much.